What is going on, Aqua Pros? Today we are going to be setting this thing up. You guessed it, we're getting into that pond live. I don't know why I'm kicking this thing around, but check it out. So we're going to be setting up this super inexpensive patio pond, deck pond, heck, garage pond, whatever you want to call it, okay? You can put this thing anywhere. Check it out. So this was purchased for 35 bucks. Okay, Home Depot. I don't know if all the Home Depots across America carry these, but mine sure did. So check it out. This thing apparently only holds 35 gallons, but it looks like it holds a lot more than that. I don't know. It's got 3 shelves in it, and unfortunately they're cut out. That's a little unsightly. I'd like it, you know, to come down and be all one thing. I think that would look better. I've already filled it up with water. That's why you see a little bit in here. It doesn't bow out or do anything crazy. It's really hard plastic. It is meant to be placed in the ground, I think, but we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna turn it into a pond and put it on my deck and effectively have a little deck pond that hopefully looks really, really awesome. There are other options. There are actually above ground ponds that you can purchase, but all the ones that I was looking for, yeah, they were a little bit bigger than this, but they were hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So again, 35 bucks for something that we can modify slightly, again, for cheap, and build ourselves a little DIY pond. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. The first thing I wanna do though is make this not plastic black. You guys saw this in a previous video. This is some textured stone spray paint that we're gonna cover this thing with. I'm not gonna go on the inside, just a little bit on the lip. We're gonna mask it off. I don't want any water to be touching that, but we're gonna cover all the outside of it with it so it looks like a big stone bowl. There, so this is 3 feet across, give or take. And how tall is it? Goes up to about 15 inches. So pretty decent sized. I think it's gonna work out great. It's deep enough to where hopefully we can put some fish into it over the spring and the summer here. I can't wait, guys. Ta-da! So literally after, I don't know, probably like $50 worth of the spray paint that I decided to use, this textured stuff that looks like stone, we got the thing done. So that brings the total cost up to still not even $100 for this thing, which keeps us well below the amount that it would cost to build a finished, or to buy a finished one. So I feel pretty good about it. We could plumb it. I don't know if that's something that I really want to do. We have really only one flat surface here underneath, which we could fit in like a bulkhead there. That would be a good place for it. Come down, have an elbow, and then have a piece kind of rest here, and then it would bring the water level down to this point. Or we could do it on the side and just make sure that we get a good seal with some kind of a bulkhead, and then we could set the drain pipe to be lower so we can just open a ball valve out here and drain it. Don't know if I'm gonna do that or not. It would be pretty convenient. I just kind of want to get this thing going. So that's something that you could do if you wanted to. It's completely up to you how you want to customize your little pond, but right now I think I'm gonna skip that part and we're just gonna set this thing up. I don't mind doing a water change on it because it's really convenient for me. Where I want to put this thing, you'll see in a second. It's easy access to draining water, siphoning it out down into a lower part of the yard. So this is where the pond's gonna live, the original site of the first plant pond that I ever did, right in this corner. Now you can see I have the edges, I masked off and spray painted down there. This is kind of where I want the water level to sit, so the spray paint isn't covered by the water. We just wanna make sure that we don't accidentally add anything toxic to the pond. But then my next challenge is really getting this thing level, because the deck on this spot isn't level. It's sloped a little bit towards me, so I'm gonna have to do something to make sure that when it's filled up, the water is all sitting along that top part of the rim. All right, guys, fast forward. It's now probably like a month later. It's the end of May, which now it's gonna be time to set this pond up. The weather's gonna allow it. So over here, I got all my stuff. I got a bunch of wood that we probably won't use over here, but who knows, maybe once we're done planting it, we might incorporate some wood. But you'll see we have a few new things in here. These are planter baskets. They will just allow water to go in and out of them, so they're perfect. And then we have this kind of cool planter that has a notch cut out. This is gonna sit up here and it's going to be our filter. I just got back from the local fish store with a bunch of plants. Not everything that's gonna make up the total pond, but it's a good start. So right over here we have gravel. That's gonna be the medium for all of our planter baskets for our plants. But first I wanna do what I've always done in my ponds, and that is put down a little bit of soil in the bottom, put sand over the top, and then plant in some dwarf sage. So let's take these out. We'll prepare these after we set up the bottom of the pond. So just like I've done over here with this old dwarf sage pond from last year, we'll use this to get the new pond started. But you can see there's just millions of dwarf sage plants in here. And we also have some volunteer pond plants that, you know, just blew in with the wind. We might take those out, pot them, and see how they do over in the other one. Not sure yet. Then we also have some Liguigia that we will also be using. This stuff is looking really, really good. So we'll take some of this stuff out and put it in a little pot. Alright guys, before I finish filling up the pond, which I've already started to do here, let me show you what I have over here. It'll kind of explain why I didn't put dwarf sage everywhere in the bottom. So I have a bunch of these plants, guys, starting out right here with this little basket I made of the Liguigia from the pond over on the other side of the house. And this is the same kind of thing over here with the random aquatic weed. So just put it in a little pot full of gravel. And then I have this thing. So this is water, what is this stuff? Water celery. Okay, so this is a really big bushy plant. We're gonna submerge it. It grows like crazy and it spreads like crazy, so that's why this pot down here is just a regular pot that doesn't have any holes in it, so this is gonna need to be completely submerged. This plant apparently is just crazy and it spreads everywhere, and we don't necessarily want that, so that's how we're gonna do it. Now the problem is that I don't have a lot of real estate over in this pond. The Liguigia basket is gonna have to be set probably on the bottom of the pond or maybe on one of the shelves. So I don't want to put dwarf sage everywhere because some stuff is gonna have to sit down on the bottom of the pond. We'll get those pots in the pond once we fill it up, which we'll do here in just a second, but I want to touch on our filter here again. What I did was I drilled a bunch of holes down in here, and this is a little bit above where the water level is going to be. So we'll have to put a pump in here somewhere. We'll put a tube up into here. It'll fill up. We're going to have to make sure we get a strong enough pump that's able to keep up with that and keep this full. And then we're going to plant this. And I don't know what we're going to put in this, but I've already put in a bunch of lava rock, and then we'll put some fine pea gravel like the other planters on top. And then, yeah, we'll fill it up with some plants, and it should work out pretty well for us. Alright guys, the pond is done, but unfortunately the sun has gone down. We can't really see it, so let's come back out tomorrow morning and we'll check it out and talk about it. 12 hours later, guys, the pond is still here. Nothing got into it last night. That's something that we definitely need to talk about because it's been a problem for me in the past. But let's take a look at this thing and let's talk about the other things that I added to it. So first of all, I decided to take the water celery out of the pot that was originally here, and I put it into the filter. I just thought it looked better, and if it spreads like crazy and gets everywhere, then I'll just have to deal with that. But it's positioned in a way that we have some room over here on the left to put some other stuff. I have some water mint that just, I don't know, it kind of wilted a little bit, so I'm not planting that yet, but that could go in there. And then it kind of frees up this area too. Again, this is one of the weeds that I pulled out of the pond from the other side of the house. And then here's another weed that was over in one of the ponds, and I put him in this little frog pot. I think that looks kind of cool. The Liguigia basket is already starting to look really good. The Liguigia is starting to point up, and that's just going to be an awesome plant to watch spread across the top of the water. And then I pulled some water lettuce from inside. You guys are familiar with this stuff by now, but I think that's going to work out well over there by the filter. And then we also have some water hyacinth. I think 4 of these guys, and they'll make a really cool flower at some point. The water's looking really clear. You can see the dwarf sage down here. That's going to propagate and just basically fill the entire bottom of this thing in just a couple of months. So I'm really looking forward to that. I still have a little bit more room in here. You can see we have a shelf up here close, and then if we move this, if this plant decides to grow up really tall, we can just move that and put it down on the bottom maybe, and then that would free this side up. There is a plant at my local fish store that I'm looking at that's really tall. I don't want to spoil it yet, but I think I'm going to go pick that up next weekend. My local fish store owner is also going to have a lot more pond stuff available here in the next couple of weeks. So this thing will definitely be transforming as the next couple of weeks go by. I think one thing that I didn't get really specific on earlier in the video is how we set up the filter. So down in here, the pump is an Eco Plus 396 power head. You guys know that it's just a super versatile project pump that I use a lot. And the flow that's coming out of it is okay. I do want a little bit more flow though, because this filter is going to get clogged up pretty quickly. I have a feeling there isn't any mechanical filter media in here, and so that's something that I might change. We can just pull this tube up out of here and clamp it on and have it shoot the water directly onto a filter pad that we can then change. That's something that will probably happen here soon. And then the other thing is just the ability to skim the water in this pond. Because it's so small, I don't feel like it's going to be that big of a deal to just go in with a net and skim stuff, but if it starts to become a problem, we can always add in like a power head skimmer or something that we make. But again, we're just gonna play it by ear and see what we need to do later on. Eventually, we will be adding fish to this pond, of course, guys. I mean, that was always part of the plan. But what we add, when we add them, how many, is all up in the air. So if you have suggestions for what you wanna see end up in this pond, leave them down in the comments below. Let me know what you think of this little pond. I think all in all, with everything in this, using some things that I already had, the total cost was less than 200 bucks. So I feel pretty good about that. Let me know if you guys have something similar to this also in the comments below. Where is it relative to your living space? You know, is it out on your deck, your patio, your balcony, what? Let me know. I'm always curious to see what you guys are dealing with. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Make sure you are subscribed and you hit the notification bell so you know when I upload the next pond video. It's going to be a really fun summer, guys. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.